Welcome to my channel Kingdom Child 7, where Sherelle Jameson presents the truth about Bible history and teachings through the living word of Yahuah. Let's get started. I woke up very early this morning, while I went to bed quite late. I woke up around 2 o'clock. I woke up with a sermon playing in the background of my MacBook named The 4 Keys to the Will of Yahuah. This made me think so much, and I can safely say that I am now beginning from scratch and that everything I think or thought I knew has been completely thrown overboard. I can go into it very deeply, but it comes down to the fact that without serious study of the Word, we are nowhere, know nothing, and are wandering in the darkness. The Word does not say for nothing, "Your word is a light for my feet and a lamp on my path." How is it then that we see where we are going if one does not turn on that lamp? Who can see where he is walking if he does not turn on the lamp that provides him with light to be able to see? In Belgium you have very dark in between roads, and for fun, when I drive there I sometimes turn off the light, just to see how dark it is on that road. Now believe me, it is so dark that you literally cannot see anything. If your car light were to fail, you would not be able to drive on and would have to wait until it was light to be able to see, so that you can continue on your way. So I have to come back to His Word, that is a lamp for our feet and a light on our path. If we do not turn on that lamp, we do not see where we are going spiritually, and we will take wrong turns taken by our feeling or our intuition. So we have to turn on the lamp daily, by means of His Word, otherwise we will have no light on our path and the enemy will lead us on a completely wrong path. A path that leads to destruction, or a path with a dead end. Do you know the streets where you turn, only to find out that it is a dead end and you cannot drive any further, so you have to turn back? This is how Satan can waste your time, to make you think that you are on the right path, only to find out that the path you are following leads to nothing and you have to start all over again. How remarkable is this? The final conclusion is, without the Word we are powerless and have no power. It is only by grace that Yahuah grants us His power in situations to free, redeem, and heal us. When we look at John, we see this text in John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. This was in the beginning with Elohim. All things were made through Him, and without Him nothing was made that was made. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. You read explicitly that without the Word nothing was made. That is such a powerful statement. If without the Word nothing had been made, that was made. How is it then that we think that we can operate without the Word? That is impossible. Simply impossible. Yahushua himself also used the Word to challenge Satan in the desert. He did not speak things from emotion. He could have said, "Go away, Satan, because I am the Son of Yahuah. I command you to leave me alone," but that would have no effect whatsoever. When we look at this time, this is exactly the problem of believers. They do not know how to pray in their situation. Mostly they pray from emotion and their own opinions and thoughts. But especially Satan is really not moved by that. No power, nor demon, by the way, because powers or demons are not subject to our words of emotion or our thoughts. They are subject to the Word of Yahuah, that is Yahushua. Please think about this. Satan attacked the Word itself, through the written Word, even though Yahushua himself was the Word. Why did he do that? He did that because Yahushua was in the flesh, and Satan knows better than anyone that the flesh is weak. So he attacked the Word that lived in the flesh. How did he attack it? By attacking the flesh, he tried to steal the Word from Yahushua. Let's look at the part in Luke 4 and study carefully what strategy the devil used. Now Yahushua, full of the Ruach HaKodesh, returned from the Jordan and was led by the Ruach into the wilderness, where he was tempted by the devil for 40 days. And he ate nothing in those days, and when they were over, he was hungry. And the devil said to him, If you are the son of Elohim, command this stone that it be made bread. And Yahushua answered him, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone. And he led him up into a high place and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him, All this power will I give thee, and the glory of it, for it is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will I give it. If thou wilt worship me, it shall all be thine. And Yahushua answered and said unto him, It is written, Thou shalt worship Yahuah thy Elohim, and him only shalt thou serve. And he brought him up to Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, and put him upon the pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, If thou be the son of Elohim, cast thyself down from hence, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. And Yahushua answered and said unto him, It is said, Thou shalt not tempt Yahuah thy Elohim. And when the devil had ended all the temptation, he departed from him until an appointed time. I want to make a few points in this passage. We see that being full of the Ruach HaKodesh is no guarantee that Satan will not come to tempt or attack us. Satan came at a time when Yahushua was having a hard time. The word says, He had eaten nothing in those days, and when they were over he was hungry. That is also the first time that Satan approaches Yahushua. He wants Yahushua to sin by turning stone into bread. He offered Yahushua bread to satisfy his hunger. So we can conclude from this that Satan is going to try to tempt you with something that fulfills your need. We see that Yahushua answers Satan again and again with the word and says it is written, followed by the word. The final test we see in verse 10 that the devil now also comes with it is written. The devil is therefore even able to use the word to mislead and deceive us. Yahushua effectively uses the word here as a weapon, as a sword against Satan. Ephesians 6 teaches us how to handle the sword of the word. All the other things, the helmet, breastplate, are for protection, but the word that serves as a sword, as a weapon, is to kill and wound the enemies of our soul. Think for yourself, in those days swords were used to wage war. No soldier can go into the field without a weapon, because otherwise he is asking for it, to be lynched. So we cannot go into battle or do spiritual warfare, nor intercede, if we are not equipped with the word. If we are not equipped with the word, that means that we also have no weapon, and then we will surely be defeated by the enemies we come against and can even die in such a battle. Also, we have to make sure to feed on the word all the time, every day, even if we are not in a battle, because in the last verse 13, we read that the devil departed from him until an appointed time, so that means he will come back to try us. That's why we have to make sure to feed ourselves daily with the word, so the devil will not catch us by surprise. Psalm 103:20 says, Praise Yahuah, ye his angels, ye mighty men of strength, that fulfill his word, that hearken to the sound of his word. Here we see that the mighty men that we see and read in the Bible or the Sefer, fulfill his word and walked in his word fully. They are powerful, because they operated in his word, they listened to the sound of his word and obeyed his word. It is the word of Yahuah that makes them powerful heroes. Without the word of Yahuah we are powerless. Jeremiah 23 verse 29 says, Is not my word like a fire, declares Yahuah, and like a hammer that breaks the rock in pieces? I read and see different texts all the time, where the prophets said, The word came to me. Prophets operate through the word of Yahuah. A prophet who does not know the word and does not operate in it, that does not feed on the word day and night, is not a prophet. That Yahuah gives a message through someone does not make him or her a prophet or prophetess. He also used a donkey to talk to Balaam. A prophet must at all times speak to the people, supported by the word of Yahuah. The Ruach Elohim will never operate, nor speak, without the word of Yahuah. And it is through the Ruach Elohim that one prophesies, so then it is impossible for a prophet or prophetess to operate without using the building block of the word as a foundation. So if they operate outside of the word, these are false prophets or prophetesses. I will quote more texts concerning the word, because there are many more. Jeremiah 23 verse 18 says, "Who has stood in the counsel of Yahuah and heard his word? Who has listened to his word and heard it?" Romans 10 verse 8 says, "But what does she say? The word is near you, in your mouth and in your heart, even the word of faith which we preach." Luke 1 verse 37 says, "For no word that comes from Yahuah will be void." And Miriam said, "Behold the handmaid of Yahuah. Be it done to me according to your word." And the angel departed from her. Even angels, when they visited the believers, they did so by means of the word. Psalms 105 verse 42 says, "For he remembered his holy word. Abraham, his servant. Yahuah remembers his word, not our empty and vain talk." We cannot move him by complaining, weeping, but we can move him by his word, saying, "Abba, remember your word concerning me." Psalms 119 verse 28 says, "My soul groans for sorrow, raise me up according to your word." Psalms 119 verse 65 says, "You have dealt well with your servant, Yahuah, according to your word." Psalms 119 verse 81 says, "My soul longs for your salvation, in your word do I hope." Psalms 119 verse 89 says, "Forever, Yahuah, your word is settled in heaven." There are many more texts like this, with the word to show us how powerful the word is, from where Hebrews 4 verse 12 says the word is as sharp as a two-edged sword, and in Ephesians 6 verse 17 to 19 says, the word is the sword of the Ruach. What a self-deception it is to think that without enough knowledge of the word and by not feeding ourselves with the word every day, we can't stand against the enemy, or any enemy in this case in the spiritual realm. What soldier goes into a battlefield without a weapon? That means suicide. So going against any spiritual enemy without the sword of the Spirit, that is the word, will get you beaten up just like the sons of Skephas in Acts 19 verse 14 to 16. Yahuah says my people perish for lack of knowledge in Hosea 4 verse 6. What lack is he talking about? What knowledge? What does the word lack mean? Let's look at that first. Lack, not being present enough. So we could translate it as follows: not being present enough of knowledge. Where do we get this knowledge from? We get it from his word. So actually Yahuah says my people perish because of the lack of his word, for not being present enough in our lives. Perish we can also interpret as my people perish or die because of lack of knowledge. The word is therefore of vital importance. Actually Yahuah says, without enough word in us, we can perish, through lack of knowledge of the word. The enemy can destroy us and project all kinds of evil into our lives if there is not enough word in us to fight him. I will now come to my final conclusion for this morning. Searching for Yahuah starts with the word. Prayer alone is not enough, because the engine of prayer itself is the word. Without the word we cannot pray. Do not confuse this with the text in the Bible or Sefer that quotes, "Tell me all that concerns you." For effective and efficient prayer we really need the word. Think about it. Why can we speak sensually and consciously, while animals, plants and all other creatures cannot speak? Why did Yahuah give man words to be able to speak? Let us go back to the beginning of the first book, Genesis 1 verse 26. And Yahuah said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." And Yahuah blessed them, and Yahuah said unto them, "Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that creepeth upon the earth. First we read the decision that Yahuah makes to make man. He says, "Let us." This is plural and indicates that he spoke to someone. The one with whom he spoke was the Word itself, that is Yahushua. Think of John chapter 1 verse 1. Through the Word all things were made, and without the Word nothing was made that was made. Furthermore he says so that they may rule, by which he means, to submit anything that is on the earth under you. He has made us to rule over creation on earth. We see in the second part, that Yahuah has already made man there, blesses them and gives them the command to rule. Very remarkable are the three areas that he gives men to rule: water, air and land. I will not go into that too deeply, but these are the three areas that Satan has taken over to rule over us, through powers in the air, the powers in the water, and the powers on the land. It is also in these three areas that we usually do spiritual warfare. But that is a whole other topic. How should we rule if we could not talk? We must rule by the Word. So it is no coincidence that man speaks and that the Word says life and death is on the tongue. It is not without reason that Yahushua says that we will have to give account for every word that we have spoken. Matthew 12 verse 36 to 37 says, "But I say to you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment, for by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned." Every word that comes out of our mouth has life. What do I mean by that? Talk and put your hand over your mouth, you feel air. The air that you feel is breath, and breath is life. When we talk we cannot inhale, but we can exhale, so every word that comes out of the mouth of a person has power. This applies to both the believer and the unbeliever. The difference is that the believer is aware of this, which allows him to deal more wisely with his words, unlike the unbeliever who is not aware of it, which allows him to manifest his own curse and bad luck with his words. The words are, therefore, mixed with the breath that gives life because they come out at the same time. So we see that words have a lot of power and that we must deal with them wisely and thoughtfully. Today I am mainly going to reflect and meditate on the Word, and I am going to ponder the revelations that I received this morning concerning the Word, in order to then adopt a structure, to take the Word in structurally and consistently, every day, and to meditate on it or to think about it. I would therefore like to end with this text for self-reflection and realization. Isaiah 50 verse 4 says, "Yahuah Elohika hath given me the tongue of the learned, that I should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary. He wakeneth morning by morning, he wakeneth mine ear to hear as the learned." Morning by morning he awakens my ear, that I may hear as disciples do. Be blessed, my brothers and sisters. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I upload every week.